Everything's at capacity for the men that I know. Everything's close to capacity for me. Everything works until one of you gets sick, until something else comes onto your calendar, and then whoa, it's chaos. And then there's frustration. You and your wife have to figure it out. Marriage, you can't complain until she points out that you haven't really been on a date in a while. And you mention you miss her wildness in bed, and then, well, and then emotions back, and that static charge is back. You're fathering, and you're doing good. You're doing the good, empathetic dad thing until the weight of work and money and marriage are on you, and something insignificant, really dumb happens with one of your kids, and then you overreact to them like a child. But you're not. They are, but you act like one anyways. The problem isn't the size of these things that hit us. Each of those things is insignificant, but our reactions are disproportionate to them. The problem is that there's nowhere else to put these tiny little unexpected things. What's good, brotherhood? Coming to you live today with a little Patriarch preview from just me, just from myself today. And before I even get to that, remember, Patriarch Summit's coming up September 11th, 12th, and 13th, reviving fatherhood, family, and moral leadership. Because of what I'm about to talk about. Because myself and almost every single man in my circles has been struggling this past year, the past 2 years especially, with at least one, if not multiple, if not all, of the battlefronts that most of us are faced with in 2026. That's the front of self, our own physical, mental, emotional health, our marriage, our money and our finances, our fathering, how we're to steward the next generation to their fullest potential, to their fullest expression of their God-given purpose while we're trying to carry all this. And then our faith, as well as our leadership outside, out in the world, how we're to show up as men, how we're to show up as leaders in a world that seems to think that we're toxic. And so what I've done, I've put together some of the absolute best men that I know to help bring forth wisdom and insight and clarity and tools and practice because, well, no man is meant to figure this out alone. We're also not meant to carry this alone. If we're the sum of the people that we surround ourselves with, there's no better place than this. Got Nate Feathers, my best friend, Dad Stone Babysit, Ryan Mickler, Pat Barber, Mike Salemi, Steph Allen, Gabriel Mira, Daniel Gross, Matt Boudreau. Amazing guys. Bringing the knowledge, the wisdom, the insights, the tools so that you can thrive and how you provide for your family, your wife, your kids, and the world. And I've been thinking about something for quite a while. I've been really wrestling with this for months, really since January. And I haven't been able to figure it all out until yesterday. Something clicked. And I've been thinking about it nonstop since then, which is why I'm bringing it to you here. And almost every man that I talk to, most of the men inside my brotherhood, my own circle of men, it seems like we're all at capacity right now. A lot of guys are really feeling the squeeze in their money. I don't know if we have enough for going out and doing extras this month. I don't know if we have enough to go out to dinner and go out to a date. I don't know if we have enough to get groceries and pay the water bill right now, whatever it is. The economic reality for a lot of guys is hard, and a lot of people will be like, oh, but we're not in a recession. It's not so bad. Maybe we're not. Maybe we're not, and maybe you still feel it anyway. I know we do. Either way, that doesn't matter, because what's clear is that most men are running out of financial room. We're running out of margin. What's left? What's left to pour into our family, to play, pour into self-improvement, to pour into our wife and our marriage, to pour into our relationships, to pour into memories. I think men, and therefore our entire families, have lost their margin. And we see it financially right now. That's what I've talked about so far, but it's so much bigger than that. The financial squeeze is just revealing something to us. It's part of something bigger. The modern provider, the husband, the father, he's under pressure from nearly every single direction. Financially, yes, but also relationally. His marriage, his all-in time with his kids, physically and his own health. His blood pressure is probably higher than it needs to be. His weight isn't what it should be. He's tired, may feel a little bit dizzy, but he's not going to say anything. Emotionally, let's be honest, most of us are professionals at suppressing because there's a mission for us to complete. So we suppress, we bury it, and that pressure just builds. It has to go somewhere. And we cope. We lean on the counterfeit comforts to take the edge off for a little while. It's the doom scroll, the hope scroll, the caffeine, the porn, the excessive workouts, working harder, the adrenaline pumping activities, and there's food, and there's alcohol, and there's workahol. And before you know it, we're running on autopilot, just trying to take the edge off and just trying to survive, just trying to get a little bit of rest. And then there's the spiritual pressure, too. If you were listening I had Stefan last week, I had Gabe on the week before, spiritual pressure is real. Almost nobody taught this man, you, me, how to carry all of that. And so what do? We do it alone. I have. And most guys I talk to, and I've felt this too, we feel alone, even though we're surrounded by the ones that we love. And we already know that we're in a men's mental health crisis, and those words don't even touch the gravity of it. We're living in a hard time right now, I think. Your financial margin disappears when nearly every dollar already has somewhere else to go. Like, what's left to do things that I want to do for and with my family, my wife? And your time margin disappears to work and commuting and kids and practices and projects at home and everything else required to keep the family operating. Your physical margin disappears when you're overworked, when you're underslept, you're inflamed, you're achy, you're surviving on caffeine, you're stiff and susceptible to injury, and your blood pressure's high, and you're overweight. Your emotional margin disappears when the engine of your nervous system that's been redlining for so long explodes over food your kids threw on the floor or the stress that's come out sideways from your wife at you. Your marital margin disappears when you and your wife become incredibly efficient co-workers who manage tiny feral people, and you cope side by side, but you can't remember for the life of you how to be anything more than co-working roommates. And your fatherhood margin disappears when you're so tapped from everything else that you're sitting next to your children, but your mind isn't there. It's still at work. Or you're worrying about money. How am I going to figure out the mortgage next month? Or you're scrolling on your phone just trying to get 5 minutes of rest. Everything's at capacity for the men that I know. Everything's close to capacity for me. Endless drops of water, into a bucket that's ready to overflow. The problem that I think that I'm seeing is most men are holding so much that there's little room left for the unexpected things in life. When you tell God that you have a plan, God laughs. There's little room left for the unexpected. And financially, most can't handle a surprise expense of $1,000 right now. You're not a bad person. Nothing wrong with you. Maybe you need to get better financially, but it's hard right now. Time. Everything works until one of you gets sick, until something else comes onto your calendar, and then it's chaos. And then there's frustration. You and your wife have to figure it out. Marriage, you can't complain until she points out that you haven't really been on a date in a while. And you mentioned you miss her wildness in bed, and then emotions back, and then static charge is back. And you're fathering, and you're doing good. You're doing the good, empathetic dad thing until the weight of work and money and marriage are on you, and something insignificant, really dumb happens with one of your kids, and then you overreact to them like a child, but you're not. They are, but you act like one anyways. The problem isn't the size of these things that hit us, because when you look at these, if you write each of those down, you're like, yeah, each of those things is insignificant, but our reactions are disproportionate to them. The problem is that there's nowhere else to put these tiny little unexpected things. And so the bucket runneth over. The pressure that we've been suppressing inside this volcano has to come out somewhere. It comes out through cracks. It comes out through explosions. And I'm seeing that. And I imagine you're seeing it. You're feeling it. What's the solution to that? Honestly, I don't see life getting any easier for any of us anytime soon. But that doesn't mean that we need to get harder. The reality that I see is that the world is not going to get any easier anytime soon. It just isn't. It's not going to get easier. The world has gotten heavier. We thought we were carrying everything on our back already, everything that we could. And then the world said, here's another straw for you, camel man. And what are we to do as good men? Which you are. You're here listening to this. You are a good man, even if you don't feel like it. What are we to do as leaders of our family? As leaders in our marriage, which I sure as hell hope that you are. And if you're not, take some initiative, man. Well, we're going to carry it. And we have to do that. But not to the point of losing ourselves. And that's the danger that I see. And I see that playing out with the best men. And I'm not going to tell you, go quit your job, go live your best life. That bullshit. We do have to carry this. It's our honor. It's my honor and my privilege to carry this for those ones that are sitting about 15 feet over here. And that's becoming one of the biggest things that underlies Patriarch for me and what I am going to be bringing when I have the privilege of speaking to each and every one of you and offering the actual tools and practices and the way for you. How do we become men that can carry all that pressure without transmitting it into our home, to our wife, and to our kids? Because honestly, and you know this, even if you try not to bleed it into the family, they're receiving everything that's going on with you. They're receiving all of it. Whether we like it or not, whether they like it or not, whether you're trying to protect them from it or not, they're receiving it. They receive the good things and the bad. Whether it happens in front of them or not. So I could go on about this for an hour. And the book that I'm writing also is going to be entirely about this. And you can go to my Substack and start checking out stuff that I've written already as drafts. But I want to ask you to close this thing out today. Where in your life have you lost your margin? Where are you operating at capacity? Where's the struggle that you aren't talking about? That you're keeping in here? Because you don't have to carry that by yourself. You also don't have to figure it out alone. Is it money? Is it in your body? Is it time? Is it marriage? Is it your fathering? Is it your emotional capacity? Is it in your faith? Maybe the first step here isn't what you think it is. Maybe it's creating 5% more room somewhere. 4%, 3%, 2%, 1% more room somewhere in a way that you perhaps haven't thought of yet. That's not going to take more time, more education, money that you don't have to allocate anywhere else right now. Capacity, guys, it's not a trait. It's a skill to be developed. And in the age that we're living in, especially with these things, which were supposed to make our lives easier and less stressful, and they have not done that. Now we're accessible to everybody, and now we're on edge. We're wired all the time. It's the most important skill that we can develop. I can't imagine the technology and the stimulation and the demands that are going to be placed on the nervous system of our kids. If you want a better life for them, if you don't want them to struggle with that, that's on you. That's on me to develop this capacity. That capacity doesn't just happen in the weight room alone. It doesn't happen just by becoming more gritty and trying harder. And man, I know that you're tough. I know that you're strong. I know you can push. I know you can grind. It's not the only way. That's how you lose yourself. That's how you burn out. That's how you, like me, end up losing consciousness in the kitchen and then coming to on your back, wondering what the fuck just happened. It's not about the burdens, guys. It's about how we carry them and who you carry them with. You're not meant to go it alone. You're not meant to figure it out alone. There are ways that maybe you've heard of, that you haven't heard of, that can help you expand that capacity so that you can still provide and protect, roof over their head, give them the abundance that they deserve, and provide for them relationally, emotionally. Give them so much more. That's it for me for today. I went 5 minutes longer than I intended. Remember, guys, you want more of this? I'm going to keep showing up here almost every single day, showing up with the guys that are speaking at PATRIARCH, which is coming up September 11th, 12th, and 13th. This is just the tip of the iceberg. This is just a taste of what we're going to have there. We're reviving fatherhood, family, and moral leadership. We're tackling the 6 battlefronts that most men are struggling on, but they would never say anything about: the battle of self, our own physical, mental, emotional health, our marriage and relationship, our fathering, our finances, our faith, our leadership, and how we're to show up out in the world. You got myself, Nate Feathers, Ryan Mickler, Pat Barber, Mike Salemi, Daniel Gross, Gabriel Mira, Steph Allen, Boudreaux. Why did I forget you today, man? We just talked yesterday. An amazing crew. $17 general admission. You get everybody's wisdom. $47 if you want the recordings for life. You want access to Q&As. You want access to any giveaways from the speakers and or sponsors. It's nothing. It's nothing. And we're already working over in the school today. We're already over there. Join us. Anyway, guys, that's what I got for you today. You put in the work so that your kids don't have to. Or you don't. Choice is yours. The inheritance is theirs. Choose ever so wisely, man. Peace.